I'm angry at this. Are you? The government is planning to force us to pay for a TV licence, even if we don't watch any of the BBC channels and only watch streaming services like Netflix. It looks like they're planning to screw us over. What the deuce is going on? Hey up everyone and welcome to Political Nerds. I'm Steph the Alter Nerd, your nerdy political guide from Washington DC to Westminster and beyond. In today's video, I'm going to discuss how the UK government is now trying to force us or planning to pay for a TV licence, even if we don't watch any of the BBC channels, even if we're only 100% solely watching streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, the list goes on, right? Now, this video is all my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions. And as a disclaimer, I'm not inciting hatred to anyone or a particular group, religion, etc. So let's jump into it with this madness. Yes, Netflix, Disney Plus users, Amazon Prime users, everyone that uses a streaming service could be forced to pay a license fee, even if you don't watch the BBC whatsoever. And so this is essentially a way around us not paying for the TV license in the first place. If we can prove that we do not watch any of the BBC shows or anything that the BBC has to offer, then we don't actually have to pay for the TV license. Looks like the government's trying to skirt around that now and is trying to force us regardless of it. And so the government is reportedly looking into asking Netflix and Disney Plus viewers to contribute to a licence fee to secure the future of the BBC. And so this will all be reviewed when the BBC's current royal charter will end in a couple of years' time in 2027. And so sources have told Bloomberg that options are on the table, including allowing the BBC to use advertising, create a specific tax for streaming services, or make BBC radio listeners pay. Now, Rebecca Ryan from pressure group Defund the BBC called the possible move opportunistic and desperate, telling The Independent, quote, "Is there anything this government won't tax? Streaming is not broadcast TV. What will be next? YouTubers, gaming, podcasts? It's essentially just a tax on entertainment." The discussions have come after Culture Minister Sir Chris Bryant said he wants a massive production budget for creating TV and films in the UK to remain part of the purpose of the BBC licence fee, saying, "I do want the streamers to come here. Tom Cruise has made massive investments in the UK." The BBC gets billions of pounds a year from this TV licence. And so use that money. They don't need any more. And if they feel that they need more, then maybe they need to review their internal structure and find out where they're wasting money and cut down and save money that way. I mean, some of these presenters, they're getting paid literally like millions and millions and millions of pounds a year. Reduce it. Reduce it. Be better value for money for the British taxpayer that is having to pay the TV licence. Don't ask for any more. And certainly don't try it and skirt around it by being like, well, okay, who else can we tax? Oh, how about those that are not using the BBC, that are solely watching the streaming services? Let's put the TV licence on them as well. That makes zero sense, and to me, actually is against our consumer rights. Because the fundamental principle of consumer rights is that you don't have to pay for something that you don't use. It's the right to reject faulty goods, receive a refund when a product is not of a satisfactory quality, whether it's unfit for purpose or not as described. Essentially, you're not obligated to pay for a product that does not meet the agreed upon standards and cannot be used as intended. And so the purpose of paying for a TV licence would be so that you can access all the BBC shows. But paying for a TV licence where you're not accessing any of the BBC shows, then that for me would be considered unfit for purpose. You're paying for something, but you're not using it as per its intention. So what the government is proposing here and what the government is planning for here, for me, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, totally goes against the fundamental principle of our consumer rights. Ultimately, this exposes this whole plan for what it really is, a money grab. Last year, I read that it was in record numbers that people stopped paying for their TV license. In record numbers. This year, it's expected that even more people are going to be cancelling their TV license, and I'd say for good reason as well. Definitely, I do fully support the notion of defund the BBC. And so with everyone starting to wake the hell up and stop paying for the TV license, turning around and saying, well, we don't use any of the BBC channels anyway, we only use the streaming services, so we don't have to pay nearly £200 a year for a TV license that we don't use anyway, so goodbye BBC. They're trying to grab that money back by turning around and saying, well, you know what, that kind of rule now, we're going to close that. You have to pay the TV license regardless if you use the BBC or not. Do you see how that's fundamentally wrong? How that does go against the fundamental principle of our consumer rights? This is insane. This is how the TV license is now trying to screw all of us over. And if you're not angry now, get angry. Because they're trying to, it looks like in the future, force us to pay for something that we don't even use. Where is the freaking logic in that? It makes no damn sense whatsoever. So for any of those in the government that's trying to get this done, that's trying to force us to pay for a TV license even though we don't use it kind of situation, I don't freaking think so. Get your head screwed back on right and rethink the situation over. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and believe me, of course there's going to be more, you do not want to miss my next video, then make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe here at Political Nerds. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatevers. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate all your faces. Until the next time, you guys, laters.